I'm Ben Gromicko from Internachi, and we are in southern Spain near Barcelona performing an inspection. And we're going to take a look at this house behind me through the fence here. It's a residential home, a modern home on a hillside. Every home should be inspected to make sure that the home is safe, functioning, and healthy. It doesn't matter if you're a home buyer, homeowner, home seller, or a renter. Every home should be inspected by a certified home inspector. Let's take a look at this home right behind me. So on the exterior of the house at the street, I'll take a look at the sidewalk and the driveway. It looks like the sidewalk and driveway it's kind of beat up and wavy here. Looks like they had a patch in the driveway here, maybe to help a car get in. Some of that is missing over here. So there's a bit of a bump here, it seems like. And this is just a patch that's probably gonna crack and deteriorate over time. And then the driveway itself is all concrete, and it's imprinted to look a little like stone. But what we're concerned with is the slope of a hard surface towards the structure. When you have a house, all of the water should be diverted away and sloped away from the house foundation. And this is introducing the potentiality of having a lot of water during a heavy rainstorm go right into the home. And so what we're going to do is pay attention to that on the inside. Remember what we're seeing on the outside. So we have a potential problem here, because imagine a lot of water rushing down, and either this gets overwhelmed or it simply gets clogged and it doesn't do its job. And now we have water coming into this garage. I believe this is a garage here. And this water has maybe deteriorated the mortar joints. And that grate there needs to be cleaned out. And let's see where it goes. I believe this is the beginning point. It's clogged, and it should be draining out this way. And it does, into another drain. So this is relying on this one to function. And this is draining out to this one. And this one is relying. So as you can tell, here's the scenario. A lot of water coming from the street, maybe from a rainstorm, down the sidewalk towards the garage, getting overwhelmed simply by its design being inadequate, its size being inadequate, or the grate being clogged, or dependent upon this drainage system, which is dependent upon this drainage system. But it may be easier just to simply slope this drain out that way. And this is a wood deck over dirt. I don't see any water barrier, waterproofing system, or gravel or drainage system. This is the interior wall here, exterior wall. That's the house there. And it looks like there's some separation here. So what we're concerned with is water. Water is great. Water creates life, but it destroys homes. So we're going to pay attention to how water is managed around this property. Water management. This is obviously sloping away, but you can see the retaining walls or steps here are rotten. So we don't want water puddling up here. So here's that driveway, and you see the concrete blocks there on a concrete pad, and that's my concern there, but I can't get to it. Love to see what's going on there underneath this concrete structure that is the driveway. Right there. We don't want this to give way. So reaching over and around, I can get my camera, benefit of using a camera, a mobile device, and I'm going to stretch over and take a look around there, and I can see it's built really well. I mean, this is huge stone masonry, so I'm not too concerned about the structure. And this is a bit of a drop. So if my client had a small child and they were playing in the driveway here, they could go right through, obviously, and then it's much more than just 30 inches down. So that would be a difficult fall there. And the handrail seems to have moved slightly, so I want to look at the fastening, make sure it's all together well. But the space between the guard, remember, a guard is a vertical barrier that stops people from falling through. That's an open gap there for some little kid. And also, us adults, we could fall through that as well. So getting out of the driveway, you go to the front door by going to this pathway here and then down to the front door. But there's a bit of a trip hazard here, and it's not very wide, and it's sloped. And it could be slippery when it's wet. So a bit of a issue there. You want to be careful. And that could be corrected fairly easily with a walkway here. Maybe while fixing that grading problem and drainage problem, put a little walkway here to the driveway instead of that sloped, slippery trip hazard. And at the front, we don't have an exterior light. That might be a nice feature to add. So walking down the property on the side of the house, seeing the rotten, small retaining beams made out of wood. No big deal. But just keeping in mind of water. How is water being managed around the property? And here behind me is the pool. And there's the pool access door to the pump. Get to that later. And we see some surface deterioration. This could be water penetration coming through or delayed maintenance. I sure would like to see all of that, but you know, a home inspection is just a visual inspection. There's a lot of restrictions. Can't see everything, but it seems like, looking at all of the exterior walls around the house, it seems like this is the part with the most deterioration. Now, water wicks through masonry in certain areas, and this seems to be the only place where we have deterioration of the exterior concrete surface and structure of the house at the pool. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think those two have something to do with each other. Oh, and that's the pool. And that's the driveway up there with that retaining wall and guard on top of the retaining wall. It's a safety hazard. But this is nicely sloped all down and away from the house. There's the pool there. And there's that retaining wall with the guard spaces. There's a little sink here with a barbecue grill. Some light fixtures above. Looks like some exposed wiring. All right. So that's the exterior. Now the exterior, the whole house is made out of concrete, just like a typical residential or commercial structure in Europe or in Spain. Built to last. Concrete could be poured concrete reinforced with brick in between some spaces. Like if there's an arch in a window, they'll leave a square opening and then brick that in to make the detail. And I'm just going to look for damage, just like we have some surface damage by the pool. And here's this transition. Maybe there's a footer or a footing here, but this looks okay. On the other side of that pool wall, where the drainage is, where the gutter drainage is, we have that minor deterioration of the wall. Some wood siding materials that's weathered, very minor. And then I'm starting to notice at the edge of the flat roof. There are some cracks developing, so we'll want to pay attention to that. Looks like they have cracked open and they've been patched before. All right, let's take a look at the pool. We're going to do a pool inspection according to the InterNACHI standards of practice for pool inspections. And we want the safety stuff and the functional stuff to be inspected, including adequate fences and gates and barriers and alarms and protective devices installed so that we protect the little kids from hazards in the pool. And we're going to take a look at the water quality and the components there, the inlets and the outlets and the filters. There are those two ports there and a couple more. We're going to take a look at those. And there's light fixtures. We're going to turn those off and on. Looks like the pool is vacuumed daily. There's no debris in the water. The water is clean. Need some regular maintenance here at the main grate, the drain grate. The water level appears to be maintained to allow the removal of the floating debris. And the pool shell and the surface around the pool appears to be in good shape. The tiles are in good shape. I'll look at the grout lines. There's a drainage grout line. So that is open on purpose in order to allow water to drain through the stones. That looks good. And it sounds good. I'll knock on a few tiles to see if they sound hollow or if they're moving. We don't want any masonry to be moving or cracked or separated. We want the ladder to be functional, safe, securely attached to the side of the pool. So we'll take a look at that. And take a look at the fasteners where the ladder is fastened to the pool. Got some tiles here that are a little loose above the water line near the edge of the pool. We're going to have to take a look at those closely. Those need to be maintained. This is where I would assume that there would be water damage, some cracking. We don't want anything loose and open to allow water to escape the pool. We want the water to be contained inside the pool. So I'm knocking on all the stones. And that looks damaged there. We've got a couple missing covers on these main drainage grates. We want those main drain grates to be bolted securely to the pool bottom and drain covers to be installed. And then the water inlets, we want those to be installed as well and functioning. And the water level, it's designed to just drain right off of this infinity pool edge into this gutter drain. There's a little chip there. Very minor things. The water quality looks good. Looks like it's been cleaned and serviced regularly. We could do a bacteriological water analysis. It should be performed on a regular basis. And the the pool water should be tested. So there's the grate. And it's a safety device, so we need to get a repair company out here and take a look at the pool. The drainage grates are broken and damaged. And not sure what the structural components are. This could be a beam going this way, or it could be a cantilever structure. Can't tell because we're just home inspectors, but I do see some indications of some drywall damage here, not drywall, plaster, cement, coating damage here. Maybe some water has come from the porch above and slipped underneath. It didn't drip, but simply came over here and did a little damage. That's very minor. And when you look on the edges, dirty water tends to tell you a few things. So there's some watermarks here from the deck structure above. Let's see the other side. Nothing major. Really don't see a whole lot going on with structure. The other side had a crack. I don't see anything over here. So the structural walls from the outside look in very good shape. We're just going to pay attention to those cracks near the roof. And looking from the driveway side, you can see where the transition of the stem wall, parapet wall, and the house foundation wall. You can see a line there. So we're going to keep an eye on that. What we don't want are large openings in the crack. A center crack is fine. Some movement, some differences in the masonry units, that's okay. But a large crack or indications of movement is bad. Let's take a look at the roof. Now turn your camera or mobile device or computer sideways so we can see the roof inspection. And it's in great shape. 2 heat pumps, the main drain, so I can inspect any roof from the safety of the ground using my drone. I'm trained and certified by InterNACHI to fly a drone, to do all kinds of inspections, including roof inspections. And there's nothing, that material looks really good. And the units look really good. The roofing material is wonderful, really good shape. No problems with the roof. But with the drone, I can access anything very easily and take a look at the roof system and all the components, including the electrical components, the heating and cooling, and then even the structural concerns that we have about that crack going around the perimeter. I no longer have any concerns about the crack, but I can fly out along the edge of the roof, take a look at the crack as it goes around the corner. So the roof is in good shape. Home inspectors get to open and close things using normal operating controls like this one. And this is a cool one, watch. Sorry, I hit the button here. And okay, it's a little slow, but you get the idea. And then if you touch the other button here, interesting orientation of the garage door. So that's pretty cool. We just open and close things. So behind me is a driveway, and I'm in the garage, and there's the vehicle here, and it's on a concrete floor, and below this is part of the house. So this is a reinforced concrete floor, load bearing, holding the weight of the floor itself, the structure, and the garage. I'm not a structural engineer, but I am a home inspector doing a visual inspection. What am I going to look for? Cracks. Looking for cracks in the tile covered concrete floor of the garage, because below us is actually the kitchen. And I don't see any indications of any cracking or settlement, movement, structural problems, nothing like that. And I don't see any signs of water problems coming from the driveway down the slope, hitting this gutter, which must be working well because I don't see any watermarks on the concrete or the tile floor of the garage. And then we did have a concern about the water coming down the driveway and that grate. And this is the area. This is the front of the garage and the kitchen. And you can see that there was some patching of the cement there, some painting. So there may have been some prior water problems right here. In the garage, there's the electrical panel with all of the breakers. There's an open slot right there where you can get electrocuted, and a couple more down there. The breakers themselves have test buttons, and they should all be individually labeled. And they almost are. They're almost all labeled, almost all of them. And we're not responsible for low voltage or phone or cable connections. But that's the panel there, and it's restricted by some personal storage items. Through the garage, there's the laundry and some storage items. And on the floor of the laundry is soapy water. And that is a leak from either the appliance itself, and it doesn't look like it, but it could be. It's brand new or newer appliance, but it seems like it's coming out of here. I'm not going to turn on the clothes washer, but I will report the water problem right there. Plus all of the hoses there, they may need to be reoriented just to make sure that they're all draining properly. But it looks like we have a problem with water coming out of the appliance itself. There's the propane fired hot water source. It's an older unit, about 12 years old, 11 years old. Looking for watermarks or leaks or electrical problems. Looks like some things were disconnected, maybe for the laundry tub that was replaced. Shut-off valve. We'll test the fixtures inside the home. There are a few things to do when testing the garage door opener, and all I want to do is use normal operating controls and the photo sensor eyes. So here we go. And the photo sensor eye is there, and it bounces off a reflector here. So if I break it, yep, that works. Here's an interesting way. This is locked. This is open and rolls. And that is a view. However, this is a guard, and I'm a home inspector, but I know that Guards are a vertical barrier to stop people from falling over. It's not a handrail. Handrails are different. Handrails are a graspable, grippable component, often put on top of a guard or incorporated at the top of a guard. And so a guard is supposed to stop me from falling over. And so in the outward direction, it should stop a 200-pound person with a 200-pound force. And it seems like it is. I'm not a structural engineer. I'm not doing an engineering test on the handrail or the guardrail, but it seems grippable. But the guard has obvious openings that can allow a child or even a person to fall through. And I guess if you fell through, you probably wouldn't make it to the pool. And so this is code, International Residential Code, for a guard to stop people from falling through. I'm not a code inspector, I'm a home inspector, but code helps me perform home inspections. This is loose, this is a loose component here, so that needs to be welded back up. And as we've mentioned before, we would just want to take a look and keep an eye on the cracking where the roof meets the house structure, right there. And just like at the ceiling of the lower area, there's a little water damage here. There's a little component designed to create a drip. So water comes down, water tension allows the water to travel a little bit, maybe during a windstorm, and then drip down. But maybe that didn't work very well over there. Not sure. And you can see the watermarks from this diagonal coming down here. That's what that is. So water is not dripping, but it's with the tension, it's moving along, maybe even wicking along the wood here, but the wood itself is in good shape, and the laundry is on the other side of this wall. Can't tell what's going on exactly below here, but it seems like the base is welded or connected into the concrete. There must be some kind of waterproofing material, roofing material underneath the surface to prevent water from leaking through the decking. And the deck surface seems to be in good shape. And we're in the master bathroom, and we have a toilet and a bidet. And I will test each one using normal operating controls. Okay, so for different types of flushes that you want, for saving energy, one is here. Let's turn this off. Fewer gallons per water. And one is here. This one is not working. That one does not flush. So that's okay, but it should be fixed. And the sinks. Oh, there we go. Having trouble with the sink drain fixture popping back up all by itself. Indication of a prior leak here. a little difficult reaching the shower fixture without getting wet myself. Because the shower door actually moves in like that. Instead of maybe like that, it moves in like that, and that's the shower head there. And the controls are around the door over there. So we'll run hot water here. It's good to run cold and hot water at fixtures because hot water tends to expand some things, makes it swell a little bit, maybe open up. And when you run hot water, sometimes leaks happen. So the kitchen, first thing I see at the stove is some damage. And that's because, let's say a pot was here and the flames from the burner here rolled underneath the pot and damaged that. So the middle burner won't turn on. Run hot and cold water at the sink and check for leaks. And it looks like we have indications of a prior leak there. So I'll keep running water, hot water. See if we can get it to leak again. And in the bathroom, looks like there are some towels here, and it's likely because someone's using the shower head and there isn't a shower curtain like in the United States. But in Europe, it's usually a bath with the use of a shower fixture. And then running hot, cold water at the sinks, looking for leaks. And that actually is damp right there, just to the touch. So right there, little dampness at that plumbing fixture coming from the bathroom sink. So it's good to run hot and cold water. And I'll step into the tub and pound the tiles and the concrete wall, grab the fixture, just to make everything and then I'll run some water. At the end of the inspection, we were told to take a look at the bathroom ceiling. And we noticed that, yep, it's dripping water from the light fixture. Now this is the first floor, the lower floor bathroom that we just inspected. And it's under the master bathroom upstairs, above. And no one would ever know because it's dripping right into the sink. So there's the light fixture, and it's dripping right into the sink. So it's hard to tell that it was leaking. I got my moisture meter out, got my infrared camera out, and there is a little bit of a difference. There's some warm marks there. The concrete ceiling in the bathroom is warm in relation to the other areas of the bathroom ceiling. And so we're going to go and look around. There it is there. See how warm it is? Very difficult to find. But there are watermarks now that I see. Yep. There's some drips and some watermarks. a little bit of cracking of the paint. And so upstairs, directly above the light fixture that's dripping water, is the master bathroom shower. And not sure where the water would be leaking. The seat looks good, the tiles look good, the grout lines look good, but there's a drain, and the master bathroom shower drain is right there along the wall, directly above that light fixture that's leaking. So I'm not positive that it's coming from here, but that's a pretty good guess because the tiles look great, but that drain is probably leaking. And the light fixtures is on a switch, and so is the exhaust fan for the bathroom. And for the interior inspection, it's a representative number of doors, windows, receptacles, light switches. Taking a look at the flooring, the walls, the ceilings. Can't help but think how building code influences me as a home inspector. So I'm inspecting this stairway. There's so many things that come to mind that are all about code that help me become a better home inspector. Let's go over a few of these things. Ready? Well, we've got a missing guard, right? And a handrail. And remember, a guard and a handrail are two different things. A guard is that vertical barrier that stops someone from falling, and a handrail is that graspable, grippable component that could be incorporated into the guard, the top of the guard, or installed on top of the guard. And when do we need a handrail? And when do we need a guard? Where we have a vertical drop here, so that would stop somebody from falling. We have more than 4 risers. And also, what's the difference between here and here, right? Around this slightly spiral staircase. What's the interior step requirement? And do we have a nose on the interior stairs? And what's the tread? And what's the riser? And also, what's the width of the stairway? And as we come up, remember, code is all about building correctly. It isn't about identifying defects. So we have a defect here. Now, if you can imagine someone on this landing stepping down at the first or second flight of stairs, we need a handrail here and a guard. That would really help this situation. Looks like they have a temporary barrier there so that nobody on this top landing falls down these couple flights of steps. What about illumination? Right? We need a light above my head at the bottom and at the top with switches. There's so many things about building code that help me become a better home inspector. Home inspectors, not code inspectors, but knowing code helps me become a better home inspector. And those were just a few of those things that come into play when we're inspecting a staircase. It's pretty quick on the interior, and in this house, everything's in pretty good shape. Well, that was a home inspection at this house in southern Spain near Barcelona, and hope you enjoyed it. It's a good house, has a few things that need to be fixed, but every home should be inspected by a certified home inspector to make sure the home is safe, functioning, and healthy. And it doesn't matter if you're a home buyer, or a home seller, or a homeowner, or a renter. You should get your home inspected. I'm Ben Gromicko from INTERNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And I'll see you at the next home inspection. Bye.